Hello, Redlationship fam! How was your day? I'm Frank, and we're taking the scenic route today to enjoy some truly top-tier stories from the Reddit community. Roll down the window by hitting that like button, and maybe subscribe too? Let's drive in! Our first story today is titled, "Am I the asshole here for making my mom's boyfriend mad because I won't call him dad?" I, 16, male, live with my mom, 42, female, full-time. She started dating this guy, I don't know his age, but we'll call him John, about 4 years ago. We moved up north with him for his job since it got relocated. I've known him for 3 years, since my mom wanted to wait a year before introducing us. He was fine, and I didn't mind him exactly. He had to work for a bit, which meant my mom and I had the house to ourselves for a few days, since he had to go on a trip for a bit. When he got back, we all had dinner together. Midway through dinner, I asked him if he could pass some salt, but I called him by his first name. I've never called him anything other than his first name. He went silent for a moment before my mom ended up passing me the salt instead. While cleaning up the table and putting dishes away, he asked me why I wouldn't call him dad. I said, "Because you aren't my dad." It was a simple answer, and I thought that would be the end of it. Instead, he pressed further and asked again. I said, "John, you aren't my father. I already have a dad." I admit, I might have sounded rude, or what I said might have been wrong. He got pissed off and stormed off to his and my mom's room and slammed the door. My mom comforted me for a moment before he came out and wanted to talk to her. She disappeared into their room, and at first, all I heard was just a normal conversation before I heard him start yelling at her. He literally stormed out of their room and shot me a death glare before putting on his shoes and jacket and leaving. He hasn't come home for a few days and is staying at his mom's. The thing is, he knows my situation. My biological dad was very abusive. My mom divorced him and got full custody. Then, a few years later, she started dating another guy. He and my mom were literally my entire world. I called him dad because he showed me what a father was supposed to be. But a few years back, he ended up passing in a car crash. I haven't stopped calling him dad because to me, he is and always will be. John knows all of this and I guess just doesn't care. I feel like an asshole because of how he reacted. I don't understand why he would act the way he did when he knows that someone else will always be my dad, even if he's not here anymore. Am I the asshole for this? Oh my God. John's explosive reaction is a massive red flag. He isn't even OP's official stepfather yet. He expects a 16-year-old boy to instantly erase the memory of the father who actually raised him just because they moved in together. OP's mother really needs to reconsider this relationship. John is acting like a spoiled child. Screaming at her and disappearing for days shows he's emotionally unstable. It's a toxic way to handle conflict. I completely understand that OP was just being honest and objective about having a father in his heart. But it makes me wonder, if OP had approached John with a bit more tact and a softer tone, would things have escalated this far? That's the part I'm stuck on. However, regardless of the delivery, the truth remains the same. John's reaction was way out of line, and OP is definitely not the asshole here. A commenter says, "This is very concerning behavior. The sudden change in expectations, demanding you do what he says, then mistreating your mom over it. What changed the situation so suddenly? This guy sounds unhinged, not to mention he literally is not your stepdad." And OP says, "I honestly have no idea. I genuinely think it might be him being tired mixed with frustration, but I'm not sure. Someone called him childish, and looking back on everything, I think I agree." Another commenter says, "Not the asshole, and you're not responsible for his emotional reaction. You're entitled to the way you feel, and if you're not comfortable calling him dad, then don't do it. Even if he has a problem with it, it's not his choice. Don't ever let anyone force you into doing something you don't want to do through use of intense anger. I'm sorry this is even a struggle in your household. If you haven't already, try talking to your mom about this for some moral support. And OP says, "My mom's fully on the same page as me. She's been a great support system through all of this. She said, until she can figure some stuff out to see if we can move out, I can keep a mini fridge in my room and some other essentials so I don't have to see him much." She moved all his stuff out of their room and into the guest bedroom. Thanks for your support. I was honestly debating just calling him dad to keep the peace, but so far, everyone in this comment section and my mom have told me that I don't have to. I wanted to post this for a second opinion. The other says, "Dude, honestly, it's all about respect. You didn't mean to be rude, you just weren't gonna lie about how you feel." And OP reply, "I found it weird. I felt bad for the rude comment and apologized immediately. This isn't the first time he's done this either. It's just the first time I've spoken up. I didn't want to lie to him about anything, so I didn't." One person express, "I'm not going to try to understand his point of view. Valid? Not valid? I don't know. But to me, there is an age cutoff for viewing a step-parent as a primary parent, someone who actually raised you. I'm not sure what that age is, but to me, it's younger than 13, which is when you met this person. I had divorced parents who were dating others when I was 12. Both my parents were still in the picture, so it's a different situation. But calling a step-parent anything other than their first name never even crossed my mind and would not happen. Not the asshole." And OP says that, "My biological parents divorced after my bio dad started mistreating me. He usually hid it, but my mom kicked him out the second she caught him. She later found out he'd been unfaithful too. A few years later, she met the man I consider my actual dad. He loved me like his own, and losing him was devastating. Years later, Mom met John. She was clear from the start that I wouldn't call him dad, and he initially accepted that. But once we all moved in together, his attitude flipped. It was like he expected me to magically change my mind just because we shared a roof." OP came back with an update after 2 days from the original post, and it says, "After he left, my mom ended up moving all his stuff to the guest bedroom. She even installed a lock on my door that locks from the inside and gave me the only key. My door didn't have a lock before this. Strange, I know, but it's an older house. She told me she'd move a mini fridge into my room along with some essentials and dishes so I'd only have to come out when I absolutely needed to. Yesterday, John came back, and when he saw his stuff had been moved, he completely lost his temper. He started yelling at my mom again, but she didn't back down this time. Instead, she yelled right back at him. I couldn't hear exactly what she said because my room has good soundproofing, but he went silent and stormed off. He grabbed his things and started loading them into his truck. I came out just to grab my cat since he's terrified of loud noises, but John stopped at the door, looked at me and said, "I hope you're happy for ruining something good," then slammed the door. My mom spent the rest of the day calling friends and family and checking every resource to find us a place to go. She did it, and now we're moving back home shortly. We have family and friends coming to help us move. My mom has blocked John on everything, and our landlords know exactly what happened. It's a small town, and our landlords have agreed that they never want any members of his family moving in here. I also had a few people message me asking questions, so I'll answer them here. Does John have a kid? Yes, he has a child with split custody, and his kid does call him dad. Is this his only childish behavior? No. He spends all day gaming, expects my mom to cook every meal, doesn't do his own laundry, and whines whenever he's asked to help with anything. Why didn't you move out sooner? The initial move took a lot out of us. We couldn't just leave immediately. My mom needed time to save up and prepare. Has he been like this before? No. This was the first time he acted this way. And just a small update. My mom actually recorded their fight, just in case she needed legal evidence. In the recording, my mom explained for the 15th time why I call someone else my dad. After my biological father was out of the picture, another man came into our lives and showed me what fatherly love should be. He passed away abruptly in an accident. John actually yelled, and I quote, "I don't get why he calls a dead man his dad when he's not even related to him." Safe to say we both really dislike John now. Also, he reached my mom through a friend's number and quickly went from angry to crying and begging. But my mom didn't cave, and we are still moving. Wow. It's refreshing to read a post where the parent actually does the right thing for their child, rather than sacrificing the kid's well-being for a relationship. I have immense respect for this mother. She's a real-life superhero. From installing locks and packing up, to securing recorded evidence and finding a new home instantly, she did everything to shield OP from that toxic man. This is a woman of incredible strength and character. As for John, the fact that he came home and immediately started screaming again shows he hasn't learned a thing. His obsession with competing against a deceased father, complaining about the word dad while contributing absolutely nothing to the household, is terrifyingly petty. Even the local landlords blacklisting his family is proof of his true nature. The mother and OP truly dodged a bullet by cutting ties with this loser. I'm genuinely happy for them. A commenter says, "You and your mom getting away from him is, in my opinion, the best update you could possibly make. Your mom is truly protecting you and getting you both back to a safe environment. Definitely make sure to let her know that you love and support her." And OP says, "I've shown her the posts as well. It's helped her know that she's doing the right thing, and she also wants to thank you and everyone for all the supportive comments." Another commenter says, "You did nothing wrong, OP. You were perfectly correct. He isn't your dad, and you are in no way required to give that title to him. You didn't ruin anything. He did that through his own inappropriate demand and his even more inappropriate reactions. Credit to your mom for standing up to him. She avoided a disaster here. It may have taken a while, but she finally saw him for the immature individual he is. I'm betting this was not actually the first time he acted poorly. It might have been the first time he directed it at you, or the first time you noticed, though." And OP reply that, "Before this, it would usually just be weaponized incompetence, ignoring us, and just overall man-child behavior. I'd like to also mention that before we moved, he acted like a saint. After we moved, it was like a switch had flipped entirely because he thought we wouldn't just ever leave." A person asked OP that. Just curious, OP, but did he ever do anything to deserve to be called Dad? And OP answer, "In my eyes, no. All he did was date my mom, and that was about it. Maybe played Minecraft with me once. He basically ignored me the entire time." The other commenter says, "He's trying to compete with a dead man for your mother's affection. He feels intimidated that her last love was so great with you that you willingly called him Dad. He thinks if he can get you to call him Dad, it puts him on equal or higher footing in your mother's eyes as the man she was dating before. This actually seems to have very little to do with you and more to do with his poor self-esteem and needing to be top dog. You're not the asshole here." OP says, "I literally had such a huge realization moment reading this. This makes a lot of sense with how John was acting. To be honest, he was nothing compared to my dad. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you think of this drama? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Alright, let's roll straight into the next story. The tilt is, am I the asshole here for leaving my friend and going home after I asked her not to sleep with my boyfriend's roommate? My 20s female friend Vanessa, 21 female, came to visit my college for her 21st birthday this fall. I wanted to surprise her for her birthday, but I am the only one out of our friend group who is over the age of 21. I got a bunch of my school friends together at my boyfriend's house, and we all went out and celebrated her and bought her drinks for her birthday. There were probably around 20 people. I was so excited to celebrate her, but before we left my apartment, I asked her not to sleep with my boyfriend's roommate, Alex. My other friend, Haley, liked Alex, and I knew it would make things awkward between her and me if Vanessa pursued him. I told Vanessa this. For context, Vanessa has slept with one of my past situationships shortly after I had seen him, and with my sister's ex-boyfriend. I was not confident that she wouldn't pursue him unless I asked her, because she is single and Alex is conventionally attractive. Alex is also the only single guy in the house. After that, we went back to my boyfriend's house for an after-party. My boyfriend, his roommates, Vanessa, Haley, and I were all there. I could tell that Vanessa was flirting with Alex, and I was watching Haley while this was happening. I briefly pulled Vanessa aside and asked her again not to sleep with him. She replied, "But he's so cute, and I'm not going to date him, so why does it matter?" I knew she had a lot to drink, and it was getting close to 4 a.m. To top things off, I wasn't feeling well and wasn't even planning to stay at my boyfriend's. I gave my friend a 30-minute warning, and Haley had already left at this point, so it was just us and my boyfriend's household left. I then told my friend that it was time to go and I needed to go home. She said, "Okay, I need to go get my phone, it's charging." It was charging in Alex's room. They both went upstairs and never came back down. One of their other roommates was blocking the stairway, so I started calling her name. I waited around another 30 minutes or so to see if she would come down. I then called her phone multiple times trying to reach her before I gave up and texted her that I was leaving and walked the 10 minutes back to my apartment by myself. She texted me back later that she was ready to come back, but I felt really sick and didn't want to get out of bed to let her into the building. I may be the asshole here, but I told her to just stay there and I would get her in the morning. I walked back over to my boyfriend's at 9 a.m. the next day and let her know that I was there. She didn't come down from his room until 2 p.m. I was really upset and frustrated, but decided to ignore it since it was her birthday and we were celebrating her again that night. I even covered for her when her dad texted asking where she was, and I told him we were at my place and she was sleeping. A few days later, I ended up in the hospital for a week due to my illness. I had to spend Thanksgiving in a hospital bed. I went back to school after and thought nothing more of the situation, but now it is February and Vanessa hasn't texted me back since, and now I am starting to worry. In our group chats, everyone answers me except for her. Is what I did really enough for her to ignore me in this way? In the end, I don't care that she slept with him. I wouldn't have left Vanessa there if it wasn't my boyfriend's house. And I wasn't so close with all of his friends. But I was in so much pain and trusted them. Am I the asshole? To me, it's crystal clear what kind of person Vanessa is. What happened at that party wasn't a one-time thing. It's a pattern. OP knew this too, considering Vanessa's history of sleeping with people in her inner circle. That's why those reminders were necessary, and honestly, OP handled it pretty well. She gave fair warning, pulled her aside, waited, called her. She did everything possible. So, OP is definitely not the asshole here. However, two things really bother me. Where on earth was OP's boyfriend during all this? Why did he leave her to deal with that mess alone? And more importantly, why is OP still maintaining a friendship with someone like Vanessa? I feel for OP because she genuinely tried to be a good friend. She went above and beyond, even covering for Vanessa when her dad called, only to be punished with the cold shoulder. It's frustrating to see such loyalty met with silence. OP, you've done more than enough. It might be time to realize that you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. A commenter asked, so she slept with your sister's ex-boyfriend and a guy you dealt with and were still her friend? And OP says, My sister didn't care. Why should I have? Another person replied to the OP, you don't have to care that she slept with y'all's situationships or exes, but it shows Vanessa's character and it's a matter of principle. Take it from someone who is much older than you and has seen this a time or two. People like her are always in secret competition with others. They like to poach spouses and exes for sport. They do it so they can prove to themselves that they're better than the other person. In this case, you and your sister. I would bet money she asked the exes if she was better in bed. This recent incident is a prime example of who she truly is and has been all along. However, you either chose to ignore it and excuse it by saying, oh, that's just how she is. Or maybe you don't fully understand her character because you were blinded by the longevity of your friendship. Now you're really getting hurt by her awful personality, and you're waking up to see her for who she is. Don't be surprised if you find out she spoke bad about Haley to Alex. She's selfish, self-centered, manipulative, disrespectful, dishonest, jealous, male-focused, and a jerk. I could use many more adjectives, but I hope you get the point. As everyone suggested, defend yourself by sending the screenshots to prove she's been lying about you. Cut her out of your life because she's harmful and will only get worse with time. Anyone who sides with her isn't your friend either and should be dumped as well. Welcome to your 20s. It's the decade where many friends are gained and lost because you get to see people's true colors. It's up to you to decide your tolerance level for their behavior. OP came back with an update after 3 days and it says, just want to clear things up before I get into my update. I've known Vanessa my entire life. We grew up down the street from each other. She's in my direct friend group. So, for everyone calling me foolish for not keeping my boundaries, it's hard to cut out a friend who you've known for so long. Now, on to the main part. On Friday, Vanessa visited my sister out of state. Vanessa's always dodgy with texts, so I thought maybe she was just busy with school. But when I saw that she visited my sister hours away when I'm in the same state as her, I knew it was more than that. I texted my sister when I knew Vanessa left and asked if she knew why Vanessa was ignoring me. She said she did and asked if I was free to call. The first thing my sister said to me on the phone was, I would never, ever leave my friend at a house full of guys by herself without telling her. I was confused and asked what she was talking about. My sister and I had a long conversation, and she told me that Vanessa said I left her at the house without saying anything. She seemed disgusted by this. She also told me that Vanessa had wanted to talk to me about the situation, but then I ended up in the hospital, so she never did. I was furious and sent my sister screenshots of our texts and our call log with timestamps. I told her exactly what happened and explained the texts. I asked her who else she told this to, and turns out our entire friend group thinks that I just left without saying anything. I was in tears just thinking about how my sister and closest friends have thought these things about my character for months at this point. My sister believes me after seeing the texts and apologized for not asking me about the situation beforehand. I still haven't talked to Vanessa, but I don't think I really need to after hearing what she told everyone. I will definitely be keeping my distance from now on and only seeing her when our group gets together. I also plan on telling the group of friends with the screenshots. I don't know why she did this, but some comments definitely shed some much-needed light. Other than that, I know who the people in my life are that care about me. Thank you for everyone's comments. They helped motivate me to talk to my sister and realize the actual truth about Vanessa. To those calling us too immature, we're 21 and our brains aren't fully developed. There's a big difference between this happening at 21 versus 26. To those saying everyone sucks here, I appreciate your thoughts and agree with many. And to those who defended me or had my back, thank you for not making me feel crazy. After reading this update, my perspective on Vanessa has completely shifted. I used to think she was just a party girl, but now I see who she really is. To twist the story and play the victim while knowing full well she ignored every single call and text from OP proves that she is truly malicious and calculating. That isn't just a flawed friend, that's a toxic person through and through. I get why OP stayed. They've been friends since childhood. It's incredibly painful to end a bond that goes back that far, but this incident was clearly the last straw. It's heartbreaking to realize that the person you grew up with could be so deceitful behind your back. Looking back at my own 20s, I remember how hard it was to let go of a lifelong friend. But I'm glad to see OP growing stronger. She's looking at reality now and choosing what's actually best for her own well-being. Good for her. A commenter says, "Do you plan to clear the air with your other friends? Because I sure as heck would." Not only was she a total jerk during the party itself, she lied about the whole situation to your very own sister, and I assume many others. The nerve of her to assume you two would never talk about that, or that you wouldn't defend yourself? My first thought was to send the screenshots and a written-out recap of the night to the group chat. And OP says, "Absolutely will be doing this." Another commenter expressed, "Not the asshole at all. And honestly, I'd stop downplaying how wrong this is just because you've known her forever. She didn't misremember. She actively lied to your sister and your whole friend group about a situation where you were literally hospitalized. That's character assassination, not immaturity. Show the group the screenshots, clear your name, then let her be a background character in your life from now on." And OP answer, "I'm just in disbelief that it even happened. We used to be best friends, and it's so hard to let it go, but I will send the screenshots." The other says, "Call me crazy, but your sister strikes me as the true asshole in this story. How little she must respect you to believe Vanessa's story until proven otherwise. Anyway, not the asshole." One person says, "It was abundantly clear what sort of person this Vanessa was in your first post. Her lying to make you the bad person and herself the poor, misunderstood victim in any action that reflects badly on her is just to be expected. There are a lot of Vanessas in the world. The only saving grace is once you know them for who they are, you don't have to associate with them. In fact, it's far better for you not to be associated with them." All right, that's the end of our story today. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here with Frank today. I really appreciate that. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. See y'all!